Hello everyone, good day. Welcome to today's tutorial. Today we'll be talking about color, CSS color. You know, every day in our daily life we deal with color, different color, and one core functionality is that we're able to differentiate between color. And color has to also be optimum. If it is too much, it can lead to color riots, or it can also lead to bad user experience. So we need to be meticulous while selecting our type of color. There are different ways to select color in CSS, which we are going to look into today. Firstly, today what I'll be using my VS Code, and I'll also be using the live server to take this tutorial. So we are going to be talking about different type of color. And for this tutorial, we'll be having a little setup in our HTML. So we have this document, our index.html, which I've set up here. It's this is where I link the CSS. I link the CSS before the title, and inside the body we have our three headings, H2, that is H1, H2, and H3, and I also have a paragraph each, so making it three paragraphs. So I'll open this with live server to see what we have. So if I open with live server, we have this. So this is basically what we have, and we would like to style it. So I want our styling to be in an external file. So that's how I create this index.css. So this is where we are going to be styling our HTML. Now I will start with CSS Reset. So if you want to make comments in CSS, you can just press Ctrl// that will give you the comments, or you can just type it out. But for me, I will be making use of the shortcut. I can write CSS Reset. That's the first thing. Initially, if you look at it, and in the previous video being sent, there is also something we call CSS Reset. If you look at it here, this thing is not starting at the top. It has a little bit margin from the edge of the browser, and yet it also have, but I don't want this to I don't want this, so I will remove it. And I will suggest that any CSS you are doing, any code you are doing, this should be the first thing you'll be doing. Remove the initial padding margin. So with that, I'll be using the wildcard selector, that is the universal selector, and I'll be giving it a margin of 0, and also what, a padding of 0. Now, if you look at it, if I save it now, you can see now everything that is the margin and padding here has gone away. So this is okay to start with. And also, I want also my box sizing. Box sizing should be our border box. So if you are new to this, border box is just like if you have a padding of if you have a width of sorry for that, if you have a width of 300, let's say a width or an height, let's just use an height of 300 pixels, and we also have our padding of, let's say, 10 pixels here. So now in border box, and our border box, our total height will also be 300 pixels. This padding will be removed from the total height. So if the content is like 280, the content will be like 290, while our padding will be 10. That means that was border box. But in our contents box, it will add this padding to it. That will be 300 plus 10. That will be 300 pixels. But we don't want that. We want just everything to be as exactly we want, and that's just the general convention and what I will advise you on. So now we'll be starting with so that's what we have. Now we starting with the color. Now, as I said earlier here, we have a basic color. Our basic color are just the normal one that we are used to, and which is being our defaults from the browser. So now if I go to my index.css, if I take my body now and I give it a background color of black. So this is just our normal color. So everything is black. So I can also give it a color of white so we can see what we have written, our white here. So we can see what we have written here. So the basic color are just all normal color. We have our red, blue, green, our red, blue, green, and rest. And this is very simple. It's easy to select, but as we progress with the tutorial, I will tell you the downside of it in our code. So these are just normal color. You can use anyone, purple, purple. We also have purple. We have Alice, blue. These are just basic color we have. So for now, I will just set it to the black as our default. Now, we also, another type of color we have is our X color, which you can call is always in hexadecimal. It has sorry about that. So another color we are going to be looking at is the X color. So let me just write a comment and write our X color. It's same thing as, let's say, hexadecimal color. So it takes in 6 or 3 value after our hash, so a total of 7. Now let me give our heading 1. My heading 1. Let me give my heading 1. I want to give it a color using the X color. I said it's added a total of 6 value. So now the 6 value, there are two value pair each. The first two stand for red. The second two stand for green, and while the last two stand for red and blue. Sorry. The first two stand for red, the second two stand for green, and the last two stand for blue. So that's just about that. So the range you can give it is from 0 to 9, 0 to 9, or A to F. It's not case sensitive. Our A to F. So you can use them. So you can combine. You can say F9, or you can say A3. They are all value. So for now, let's give. If you want to give a red, now I can say, I said the maximum is from A to F. So our red will be F. For example, now our red is F. That is the maximum. If we are going to be using the 6 value, our red will be FF. That's the maximum value for the red. And our green will be 0, 0. That's the lowest. Why our blue will also be 0, 0. So this will give us our red value. This will give us our red value. Should in case we can, this is the 6. If you are writing in 6 place, we can also write in 3 place. The first one, F, is the maximum value for the red. And if we put 0 here for the green, and we can also put 0 here for the blue. So we have our value of we have our color to be red. I think I didn't select the right heading. Let me see. We call, oh, sorry, there is an hyphen here. So you can see now our heading 1 here. Our heading 1 here is red. Our heading 1 here is red. So that's how to select it. So we can also you can also say our color, for example, can be, now I said we have 0 to 9, or we can also have A to F. So you can, instead of writing, you can say F3. So that means this is the first value for the red. So you are taking the maximum and you are taking another value. So we can also give, instead of giving, you can also give 2, 1. That is for the green, and you can also give A2. This will definitely give you a color. That's one. So that's just the short time. You can use either 3 or either 6. So if you want to look for green now, so our green, if I'm looking for a deep green, our value of red will be 0. Our green will be maximum value, that is F, and our blue will also be 0. So this will give us a green. Why you can also use it like this is 0, 0, FF, and 0, 0, which will give us also green. The same thing, if you want to add a mix of green and a green and blue, you can also give FF. So this is a mixture of green and blue. So if you give it here, actually this color, the last color will work, will take precedence, will take a higher value because it's the last one. So more about that we'll be talking about in specificity. So that's how we can get our, we can use our X color. It's either take a value of 6 or you can take a value of 6 or 3, depending on how you want it. So I will save this. That will be our heading one. Now let's move to the other type of value we have here. We also have our RGB. Our RGB just instead of just stand for our red, green, and blue, red, green, blue. Our RGB. I'm also making a comment here. If I'm giving our heading to I want to give it an RGB. It's just our RGB. Oh, sorry, our RGB, which should take in from 0 to 255. So 0 is the least. So if I'm giving it 0, 0, 0, that will give us a black. Sorry, if I'm giving it a color of 0, 0, 0, that will give it a total black color. If I save this, so our heading 2 is black, so I don't want to black. Now if I can give it a total of 255, if I'm giving it 255, 25, this is the maximum, and it will give us white. To give us white. So if I'm giving this as 0, I'm giving this as 0. So as you can suggest, we are going to be having red because that is maximum value. So we can only reduce this, can this 155 to give us something lighter in red aspect. So if you want to get the green now, you can just put this at 0, and why we put this as 255 or any other value, but it doesn't range more than that. So that's how to get our green. So if you are using our RGB, another alternative we can add to our RGB is our A, which we call alpha. If I'm adding alpha, alpha is the degree of opacity, how you want it to be blue or how you want it to be light. It takes a value between 0 and 1. So between 0 and 1. So I'm going to add our fourth parameter here. That is, if I'm giving it 3, it will be a little bit, you can see now it's fainted. You can give it of 4. It's coming up. If I give it of 8, it's just a little bit from the value. So it makes it gives our work it also gives our works make it to look better. For example, now if you're having this, now you're having our RGB as your color. You can over on it and add you can add 8 value to it, which can be 0.3 when you over on it. So this gives us flexibility. One thing you should not do, our advice you not to do, is if you are giving our RGB, then you now give a opacity of 0.3. So this would definitely affect, if this is a container, it will fade everything there. But the only thing you want to fade is just the text. So it will also fade any of the thing inside the container. So our advice using RGBA to get to give an opacity. This will give an opacity of 0.3. This will give an opacity of 0.3. So the next color we'll be looking at is our HSL. So if I'm moving here, our HSL means hue, saturation, and lightness. You can write it like this: hue, saturation, and lightness. If you want to move to the next line, when you're on one of the lines, you just press Ctrl Enter. It will move to the next line. So now that's our hue range from 0 to 360. So that will take me to the MDN document so that we can see it clearly, and we can check the details explanation about it. If I click, this is our HSL. It's just a function, and when you go to CSS JavaScript, you know more about it. So its range for, it's just like a 360. So 0 to 60 is yellow. Why from 60 to 120 is green, cyan, blue, and magenta. So these are just value that we can twist on. while our saturation is also range is in form of percentage, 0 to 100. If it is 0, you have a gray. 0 is gray. Is there a percentage where 100% is completely saturated, while 0% is completely unsaturated? If you want, unsaturated is when it's gray. Even with other values, if you put your saturation level to be 0, other things will also remain gray. So now that will take us to, let's take our heading of 3. Our heading 3. Now let's take our color using our HSL. So now we are taking our HSL. Now from here we are being told that from 0 to 60 is our green. So now that's just it. Then with our level of saturation, we want it to be saturated. Let's just give it a 75%. Then our lightness. Our lightness is how bright we want it to be. Why? Where 100% is 0, 0% is black and 50% is normal. So we can just want it to be just our normal black color. Want it to just be our normal black color. That is 50%. So you can see what we have. We have something like that, that green here, like that yellow here. So you can increase it. If I increase it to 125, to give us towards, it will go towards 125, it will go towards yellow. Yeah, 125 will go towards yellow. So this is just this. Let me save it. Now you can see this is what we have. There is one thing, one good thing about the HSL is this. Now let me take our heading 3, and I want to do when you hover on it. Hover is just also a CSS selector, which we are going to learn. So now if I want to change the color using this same value, I just want to, that's one good aspect of HSL. If I'm now, instead of like now the degree, I can just take this to 30%, 30. So you can see it is the color is light just by adjusting the now if you go on it, it's a bit dark. So this is just one good thing about HSL. So I'll talk more about this when we are comparing the advantage and disadvantage of each type of color. Now the other value that you can add to our HSL is our is the alpha. Just like RGBA, we can also have HSLA. So if I go to my color here and I put HSLA, like we can still use the number 125, 75%, and we have 50%. Now the last value, that's the fourth value, will be our opacity. That is also range from 0 to 1. We want to be 0.5. You can see now it's a bit dark. I can say 0.9 to close to that one. Why our one will just give you the normal one. So I can say 0.5 like this. So you can see now we have something like close to what we have here when we have as 30. So that's how we can use it. You can just play around it. Go to MDN and just look for HSL there. You get more about it. So now, if you are comparing it now, the normal basic color is not too good if you are dealing with CSS. The reason being that, firstly now, if I want to just have a light black here, how do I do it? There's no way. I'll just have to start looking, look for the color palette and start thinking of light black. And I don't think there's something like light black. Let me see. There's nothing like light black, but I need something that is light. I don't want it to be totally black. So these are the disadvantages of using our main or primary color like that value, using blue or green. So this will lead to a lot of issue. Like if you want to do after or things like that, this will not give you the flexibility of doing it. So the other one is this color. Yeah, this color is you find it most in every code. This is very okay, especially if you are translating a Figma design or something like that. You have our X color. This is very okay. The only challenge is this: if I want something light here also, I don't want this color. I want it to be a bit lighter. Now, if I change this F and I change it to D, this will give me a total color entirely. Or if I change this FF and I change FD, this may not be what I want. If I change DD now, this will be another total color entirely, and this is not exactly what I want. I just want it to be light. So it doesn't give us also that flexibility. Like now, if I change this, I can if I put 01, this total 10, just 0862, this will give us a total 10. Or if I change this 0 here to 1, this will give us a total color entirely. So that's not exactly what we have. So the best bet is using our RGBA or our HSL. But in modern CSS now, it's more advisable to use our HSL because you can easily change the lightness. Like this now, you can change it to 20%, and which will also be okay. If I change it to 90%, that will be very, very light. That will be very, very light. You can see now, this is very okay just by changing a value. So the last part we are going to be looking at is using the VS Code. So using the VS Code. So VS Code we always suggest, I'm going to be using the body element. We always suggest color for us. If I'm going to take our color here, now, we have some suggestion, but if I click on this and it's blue, then if I hover on this, it will give me this. Then from here, I can start selecting. These are RGBA. I can use our X, and I can also use our HXL. There's also HWB. So these are the values. So with this, and now I can start selecting what I want. I want something light like this. If I want this to be here, so you can see now I'm just selecting the color, then I want this to come down. So if this is the color you want, so you have something like this. So this is just another system of selecting color. But this will always be tedious, and you can spend a lot of time selecting a color. So now, so that's all about our color, different type of color selection we can have. We have talked about basic color, S color, RGB, and HSL. So I hope you have a better grasp of it. Another thing I would like you to do is to read about and give a comment about it in the about it is our HWB. I saw it now, and I've not been seeing it mostly in most code. So I want you to also make your own research. HWB. I want you to make your own research and tell me more about it in the YouTube comments. Let me know what you feel about it. Let me know how you have tried it and what you think about it. Yeah, let me know what the meaning of this the function is. That HWB, what does it mean? And so we can both learn together. So that's all about that. Always strive to learn more, and yeah, don't give up. You have to keep learning, keep pushing, and and you have to stay on. So that's all about that in the for the CSS color. Let me know what you feel about it, about the lecture in the comments box. Thank you. Thanks for joining.